So we have seen some footage this week of the players back in training. They're very recently back in. They're out on the pitch. One notable face, albeit very much in the background in the images and the videos that we saw, was Jack Harrison, who of course has returned to the club following 2 loan spells at Everton, both of which didn't go down particularly well. With the fan base, you have written in your newsletter this week, which people can subscribe to on yorkshireeveningpost.co.uk/newsletter/premium, which is a bit of a mouthful, and I didn't even look down to see that either. You've written about Jack Harrison's status and the potential for what could happen to him. Very briefly, without giving away what is in the newsletter for all the people who have subscribed already to it. Where are we with Harrison?
Well, he's back. He's a Leeds United player, and like all Leeds United players, he's expected to train. There was never any suggestion that he wasn't going to report back. We've seen that with a few players across the continent this summer when they're looking at getting moves away. They're saying, I won't be coming back for pre-season training. That hasn't been the case with Jack Harrison. He's come back. His presence was very much soft launched by Leeds in the media clips that they've put out. It wasn't look, Jack's back. It was, oh, look who's in the background of this shot or the background of that shot, just to kind of, I guess, have it seep out rather than make an announcement, Jack Harrison's back. It strikes me that there's quite a lot of awkwardness about it for obvious reasons. Fans in general don't want him back because he twice decided he didn't want to be at the club, once after relegation and then again last summer. You look at the terse nature of the statement Leeds put out last summer to say he was going back to Everton. None of anything that happened over the last 2 years pointed towards a happy reunion. It never seemed to be anyone's plan that Jack Harrison would come back and be a Leeds United player. There didn't seem to be an appetite on either side for that. But this is where they all find themselves, so they've got to deal with it now. And it'll be absolutely fascinating to see what happens. I mean, we are waiting to see if he'll be on the flight list for Stockholm this weekend against Manchester United and then involved in the Germany training camp. I wouldn't necessarily say that that's going to decide his Leeds United future because we've had players. I mean, Crescencio Somerville trained out in Germany last summer and was no longer a Leeds United player a couple of weeks later. Players can be involved right up to the start of the season and beyond. Jorginho Rutter started the season with Leeds, did not end the season with Leeds. So it's not a hard and fast rule, but we will certainly be pressing Daniel Farke on whether or not Jack Harrison is actually in his plans. I would imagine the way I see it playing out is that everyone at Leeds, including Harrison, will act as if he's going to play for Leeds until such a time as an offer comes in, either a loan that gets a big chunk of a very healthy wage off the books, or what would make perfect sense is a permanent exit and a sale. But we discussed that in the PSR position that is required in the newsletter this week. And let's wait and see on that one.
Again, just sticking with Jack for a moment, and again, without giving too much away about what's in the newsletter, part of the issue now is really that aside from the fact that he left 2 seasons in a row on particularly bad terms, he hasn't exactly ripped it up at Everton, has he? Since he has left, and now he's found himself at a team at a very similar level to Everton, and he has already shown that he's not exactly been great in that position. Yeah. So there's many reasons for fans not to be overly excited about him being back.
Yeah, it's one of the real considerations in all of this is that he's not the player Leeds almost sold for 20 million in 2023. He hasn't proven to be that player for the last 2 seasons. You can say in his defence that he was in a struggling team, but he'll be in a struggling team at Leeds. That's the reality, is that Leeds will be fighting against relegation when they start the season, as will, 10, 12 other teams. They'll start the season thinking, first and foremost, let's stay up. So it's not like he's going to be surrounded by the league's best players who will bring the absolute best out of him. It's going to be up to each player at Leeds next season to show that they can rise above the relegation battle on occasion and prove to be better than the opposition's players. And Harrison plainly hasn't proven that he can do that over the last 2 seasons. So that's not to say that he couldn't have a return to the form that saw him score 5 and assist 7 in his last season at Leeds. I think he got 8 of each in the season prior to that. So in there is a player who can score and assist at Premier League level, but it's difficult to convince potential buyers that what they're getting is a 2022-2023 Jack Harrison.